Doesn't give us our heads up like it used to. And Alt-Z. Why are you... doesn't look like it's doing what I want it to. Save. My channel. Oh, well, it's right there, but it just doesn't say that I'm broadcasting, which is dumb. Alright, so here's our channel. Alright, so we're making, now, I'm instructing my children on how to make a clip to hold a flashlight to the ceiling, or to the wall. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to measure right here, and we know that it is 1.46, oh my gosh. And we're going to do this in inches, because it's pretty easy. Then we're going to go to our document settings at the top here. We're going to change our units to inches because that's what we're working for here. Once we're done with that, we'll click on top so that we're looking straight down on top of our work. Click on sketch, drag it down here and select it. Now, we're going to make a clip. The first thing that we need is a circle. The circle's diameter, see from the outside edge to the outside edge, that means its diameter is what we need. So that's 1.46. There's the diameter. But we can't just operate with a circle. We actually have to have another outside piece, because then we can't 3D print it or cut it in metal or anything like that. So we're going to create another circle. And we're going to snap to the center. See that little that little plus sign? If we drag it close to the center, it'll make a circle and let us know that we've reached that inset. And so that we know that it's 1.46, so we need to make it at least 0.2 larger. But 0.3 would be better. So 0.4 plus 0.3 is 1.76. 1.76. Okay, that gives us plenty of space so that if we mess up or make it a little not quite strong enough, we can deal with that later. Alright, so now we have our circles, but we can't clip a flashlight to that. There's nowhere to put the flashlight in, is there? And the bottom's too big, so it wouldn't slide into there. So we need to do something different. We're going to come down here, and we're just going to select an arbitrary point. We'll take a line. The point here, and then we'll zoom in, and we will select another point roughly 90 degrees from the outside edge of the circle, and select that. Okay? And we're just going to leave that there. We're going to zoom in on the other side, and we want it to kind of clip in, but we don't want it to be too forceful. So we don't want to put it at the halfway mark, because that wouldn't work. See, that's the halfway mark. So we actually need to bring it down here just a hair. So we'll take our line and we'll zoom in, and we don't want to put it at the halfway mark. It'll just come out just a hair, and zoom in and go roughly 90 degrees and click into place. Okay, so there is the layout for our clip. Doesn't have to be 100%. It's fine to have it like that. Okay, so we're going to now take our trim tool, the one that looks like scissors, come down here and cut that and cut that. Look at that, it's starting to look like a clip, isn't it? But we need a little bit more space, so we're going to take and we're going to put a rectangle on each end. Boop. Oh, except for since I didn't do this right, we can't do that, so we're just going to use lines. Boop. and it'll tell us the degrees based off of our original line, that line. So this is 25 degrees, right? This is 90 degrees or 0 degrees. So we're just going to come out, if that's 25, we should be able to come out here. And we can find a point that is roughly makes our circle right. There we go. So we have a square. Okay, we're going to do the same over here. See that line up there? That actually tells us that we are in our, we're making a triangle, okay? And we're going to go do the same. We'll find it, 90 degrees. And we'll just go up here. Click. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just extending it just a little bit. It's nothing special. We'll go ahead and trim again. So we've got a little bit of a thump here. That's okay. But now we need a way to fix it to the wall. How would we do that? Can you come up with a way to do that?
We could screw it onto the wall.
Okay, we could screw it onto the wall. All right, so we'll find our circle's center point, and we'll come out. Look here. Look at the outside rim. We can't just put it right here to screw to the wall, because then it would hit, wouldn't it? Because our flashlight's head is way bigger. The flashlight's head is 3.95 inches. 3.095 inches. Okay, so we actually have to have a lot of space there. And we can cheat and actually measure that. We can measure that from here. You see how I'm holding the calipers? And we can lay our flashlight down and actually measure to the table. And we know that whatever we do must be greater than 0.775. So we'll just make it we'll just make it 1 inch. We'll make it 1 inch from the outside edge. Okay? That makes it really simple. Alright, so we'll make it 1 inch all the way from the outside edge. And we can just actually press 1 and hit enter. And that will do that for us. But we can't just set it to the wall like that, can we? No? Alright, so what we'll do is we'll go 90 degrees and we'll make that 1 inch, 1 inch. And we'll take our line and go 90 degrees and make that 1 inch. Now we have a kind of something that we can screw to the wall, right? At least a little bit. But it's not quite big enough, is it? Well, we can remedy that. We'll make a 0.5, so that's a 1/2 inch diameter, which means that the radius is 0.25. And we'll come over here and we'll make 0.5, which is pretty good, right? Then we'll go and we'll draw a line straight down and draw a line straight over. Okay. But now we have this part that we have to deal with. So we'll do the same thing. We'll just make a circle right here. See, we can cheat and make a lot of things just by using circles. Okay? And we'll take our line and we'll go from that intersection point straight down to that intersection point. And we'll take another one at this intersection and draw it straight down to that intersection. Easy. Now we've got to trim it. But first we should give ourselves something to reference. Okay, so we'll trim it now. We can trim this side and that side. That looks pretty good. And then this one, and then this one. And this one, 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 and that center line, because that doesn't do as good, and then that center line. And then that center line. Now, we have the makings of a clip. Right? So, we're done, right? Do you think we're done? Alright, well let's hit finish sketch and just see how done we are. Looks pretty good. That ought to hold a flashlight, right? But, if we grab this and we rotate it, uh-oh. What's wrong with that?
It's way too small.
It's flat. It's way too thin. It is literally thinner than a piece of paper. Hold on. It says a package was detected at our front door. But, oh, the sign blew down. Okay, I'll have to put a hookup for that. We can 3D print a solution for that too. Alright, so, but it's way too flat. We can't hang a flashlight from that. Why?
Because it's too flat.
It'd just fall down, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So we better make it taller. Now, we want it to be strong because this flashlight's pretty heavy. So we want it from about right there to right there. So the whole button area should be our point. So we can make it about 0.75 should fit right there. 0.75. That's 3/4 of an inch. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to extrude. And we're just going to click on this because it is the only thing there and hit 0.75. Look!
That's way better.
We already have our flashlight clip. We could 3D print that right now and it would be functional. But there's other things that we can do to make it even better. We'll make it today if you want. But there's other things that we can do that we can make it better.
We could color it.
We could color it, but we'll just choose whatever filament we want for that. Alright, so how to make it a little bit better, because there's our flashlight clip. That would definitely mount to the wall and be a pretty decent clip, right?
Oh, I have an idea.
What's your idea?
Maybe I had an easier idea to put in the screws.
A hole for the screws.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, we can do that. We click on this solution up here called a hole, and we click this face. That is the face that we're going to put a hole. That's pretty well centered right off the bat. But that is a huge hole, and that doesn't do us any good.
Too big, a nail won't fit through.
So-
Yeah, we need it to be perfect.
So we'd have to find a hole type. Now this is a simple hole. That means that if I was doing this on a milling machine, it would just drill the hole with no thought whatsoever to depth, width, or anything else. It would just make that hole. So, but we don't want a simple hole. We could make a counterbore hole or a countersink hole. Countersink is more likely what we would use.
Okay.
Can be 0.4 inches deep because that part doesn't matter. But the width is what matters. So we're going to make the diameter of our hole 0.18. Okay? And the diameter of our cap 0.23. Excuse me. 0.33. Yep, 0.33. Sorry, guys. All right. Look at that. That's a great idea, Chiana.
Thanks.
But we
Now
better
do it on the other
put
side.
one on the other side.
Or else that bit would only make it go whoop. We want it to be at like exactly the same, right?
Yep. There it is. There is our two holes made. But look here. This side looks wrong. We better fix that. Alright, so what we do then, since we made a mistake, is we just go back and fix our mistake. We just hit undo and undo. Go back to the hole. Click on this face plane, and then we can drag, and it will actually clip to the center. There it is. Done. Let's do the other one, just like that. Go to hole. Click onto the face. And then drag our central point to the center, and it clips. Look, it wants to go there. Bam! There it is. And we hit OK. Now we have 2 identical holes. Looks pretty good, guys. That's right. That's what we want. We want consistency. All right. But we can go even further than this.
Ooh, what if we put a horse on it?
I'm not going to do that much yet. You guys aren't there. We're going to put a fillet on it. A fillet is a rounded or flattened point, one being called a chamfer and the other being called a fillet. A fillet is a rounded point. And we're going to click on this face here. Okay? And we're going to make our radius a very small number. Hold on. We're going to make it 0.062 and hit enter. And that gives us a nicely rounded area that looks a lot better, especially on a 3D printed or machined part.
That looks even better than it was before.
That's right.
Fancy land.
But we should do it on this side too, shouldn't we?
Ooh, that would make it even better. Let's do that.
Can you tell me how I did that? I need to click on fillet.
Yes, fillet.
And then come down here and click onto the face that I want to fillet. And then I'm going to type in 0.062 and hit enter. There is our filleted face. Look at that. So we now have a functional clip.
And they're both identical sides.
Yeah. Okay. Now we have this leg is slightly longer than this leg, which is fine. That's absolutely okay. But we have our functional part. Now we can do some pretty cool stuff at this point. We can give it texture, which we don't need, or we can just save it and print it as it is. So
Texture.
currently we're just going to print it as it is.
Yeah.
You guys aren't at texture yet, so we'll have to do that. So the first thing that you do is you need to save it. We're going to save this one as FLC, flashlight clip. And we're going to save it as an admin project. This means that I can access it at any machine that I use. And then we're going to, there we go, it has just saved. We're going to go up to File, hit Export, and we're going to go and export it as a STP or STL file. In this case, because we're going to 3D print it, we're going to save it as an STL. We're going to save it as FLC version 1 because we may make changes to this in the future. And we're just going to say it's going to export to 3D print and to 3D print file, so we know that we can just go ahead and print this out, and that will be our print. Alright, and it'll take a few seconds. Alright, our file is printed, or is saved as our STL. We can go ahead and close out our Fusion 360, and then we're going to open up our Cura Slicer, which is in the wrong window. We're going to drag it over here. Alright, so now that Fusion 360 is closed, we've got our Cura up, and we're going to take our Cura and, sorry, I'm keeping the files in track. We're going to select this old project and we're going to delete it because we don't need it. And we're going to open the file that we just made. Do you guys remember what we called it?
Mm-hmm.
What did we call it?
I have a
FLC version 1.
Right. FLC version 1.
Now, Cura is what we call a slicer. It takes and remanufactures the part into little tiny cutouts called slices that makes it to where we can 3D print them.
Ooh.
There is our 3D printable part. And it says it'll take about an hour and a minute at our standard print size. We're going to use the 2 extruder printer. Can you make sure it's on?
Which one?
The big one. Make sure that the light's turned on.
The big one that has the 2 things?
Yes.
Okay. It's a blue light and the red light.
Okay. So that means it's powered on. Alright, cool. So we're going to save to file. Because everything is already set up for this. We've got it set up for the TAS6 FLC version 1 as our G-code file. G-code is how we talk to machines. It is a set of commands that allows our machines to make the moves necessary to make the parts into reality. In a 3D printer, that means that it adds material. This is called additive manufacturing. On the big CNC machine out in the shop, it is takes material away. That is subtractive machining. Alright, so we have our folder saved. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to open up our Octoprint instance. Our Octoprint instance is the little computer that's, please put that down, is the little computer that is beside, not the laptop, but the little tiny computer that's beside our 3D printer. Here is our laptop. We're going to hit connect to make sure that our printer is connected, and it should connect right up. It did. And then we're going to upload our brand new FLC file. It will say TAS6 V2 or DV2, and then it'll say the name of our thing. There it is, right at the very end there. Version 1. Go ahead and save it. Let's take a look at our control. Our webcam is up. Unfortunately, our webcam is not where I want it to be. I'll have to move it in a minute, but that's okay. And we'll scroll down until we see it. We'll click on it once the hand comes up. It says it'll take about 50 minutes to an hour. And then we will hit print. It'll pre-process the slices, and then it'll send a command to the printer to turn on the heated bed and the heated head. And that's it, guys. Now, we just wait.